You think humans cook food because it tastes better. That's not why. The real reason you cook is the same reason you're smart enough to wonder about it, and it has almost nothing to do with flavor. Every other animal on Earth eats its food raw. A chimpanzee, an animal that shares almost all of your DNA, spends up to 6 hours a day just chewing. Raw food is tough. It's low in usable energy, and your body has to burn a huge amount of effort just to break it down. For millions of years, that was the deal for our ancestors too. Chew for hours, digest slowly, and stay small-brained, because a big brain was a luxury no raw food animal could afford. Here's the part that should stop you. Your brain is about 2% of your body weight, but it burns roughly 20% of your energy. It is an absurdly expensive organ. No animal eating raw leaves and raw meat could ever fuel a brain like yours. The math simply doesn't work. So the question isn't, why do we cook? It's, how did we ever get a brain big enough to ask the question in the first place? The leading answer, argued most famously by the primatologist Richard Wrangham, is this. Fire started digesting our food for us outside our bodies. When you cook food, you're doing to it what your stomach would have had to do. Breaking it down, unlocking the energy, killing what would make you sick. Heat gelatinizes starch, unravels protein, makes calories that were locked away suddenly available. A cooked meal gives you dramatically more usable energy than the same food raw, for a fraction of the chewing. And that changed the body. Once fire was doing the hard work, our ancestors didn't need giant guts to ferment tough raw food anymore. Compared to other great apes, humans have a strikingly small digestive tract for our body size. The energy the body saved on digestion and on those 6 hours of chewing was freed up. And it appears to have gone somewhere specific, the brain. Smaller gut, bigger brain, powered by a fire that did the digesting for us. Look at the timeline buried in our own bones. Around 2 million years ago, one of our ancestors, Homo erectus, shows up with something strange for an ape. Smaller teeth, a weaker jaw, a smaller gut, and a noticeably bigger brain than anything before it. It's as if the body suddenly stopped investing in heavy-duty chewing and digestion and started spending that energy somewhere else. Many researchers see that shift as the fingerprint of food that was already being processed before it was eaten, pounded, or cooked. The chewing machine got smaller because something else was doing the work. You can see the same fingerprints on your own body right now. Your jaw is weak and small compared to your ancestors. Your teeth are tiny. Your gut is short. And here's the test that proves it. Modern people who eat strict raw diets with all our blenders and supermarkets and knowledge still struggle. One long-term study of dedicated raw food eaters in Germany found that many lost significant weight, and a large share of the women stopped menstruating altogether. Their bodies simply weren't getting enough usable energy, even eating all day. In the wild, without a blender, it would be far worse. You are, in a real sense, an animal that has outsourced part of its digestion to fire. You are biologically dependent on cooking. Take it away, and your body is running on a system that assumes the fire is still there, which flips the whole story. We tend to think humans got smart and then invented cooking, but the evidence points the other way. Cooking may have come first, and the smart, small-jawed, big-brained creature, you, is what fire slowly built out of an ordinary ape over hundreds of thousands of years. The campfire wasn't something clever humans made. It might be the thing that made humans clever. Now, to be honest with you, this isn't fully settled, and that's what makes it interesting. There's a real fight among scientists. Wrangham argues fire goes back nearly 2 million years, but the hard archaeological evidence for controlled fire, hearths, burned bone, ash layers, only becomes common much later, closer to a few 100,000 years ago. That gap is a problem. So a rival camp argues something else did the early work, not fire, but meat. Eating more animal protein and using simple stone tools to pound and cut food could have started shrinking our guts and feeding our brains before fire was ever tamed. The truth may be both. Tools and meat starting the shift, and fire finishing it. The timeline is still argued over, but the core idea keeps holding. The size of your brain and the softness of your food are not a coincidence. So the next time you cook a meal, understand what you're really doing. You're not just making dinner, you're running the exact process that may have carved your species out of the animal kingdom, the one invention so old and so deep that your own body evolved to assume you'd never live without it. Fire didn't just keep our ancestors warm, it may have cooked them a brain.